Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cosmic Waves Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to see you. Today we have a reading for everybody, and I thought this reading, it would be kind of fun since Halloween is coming up to use this spooky deck and kind of just ask the tarot for some reflections about this season. I am in the Northern Hemisphere, so it's a very good time of kind of wrapping up the year. The days are getting darker and colder. We have Halloween coming up. But even if you don't celebrate Halloween, I know many cultures have similar holidays around the world, like Day of the Dead or Obon in Japan, where there is this kind of focus on the dead coming back, or at least the spirits visiting us and reminding us of certain lessons that we might need to learn from them. So I thought it could be interesting to do a tarot reading and see if there are any such lessons that the tarot wants to offer to us, or just reflections in general on this time of the year. Also, if you celebrate Samhain, that is coming up. So there's a lot to look forward to this time of the year before we really get into the heart of winter. So I'm shuffling the tarot now and asking for any insight or just any lessons that we can glean from this time of the year, and using my spooky deck as well. So I'll take the top 3 cards here. Let's see what we have. We have Justice, the 3 of Cups, and the 9 of Wands. Okay, so we have 1 major arcana card and 2 minor arcana here, which is always a very interesting spread. The major arcana, of course, has the strongest kind of signal. It stands out the most in this reading, so I'll go ahead and start with that. So as I said, this card is Justice. We can tell, of course, because of the number of cards that it is in the tarot, but it has that very similar imagery to the classic Rider-Waite-Smith, where this figure is seated with the scales in one hand and the sword in the other. This card does look very, very intense. This figure is kind of staring straight at us, which is similar to the traditional imagery where the figure is looking dead on at the reader. And Justice is a very powerful card because it always reminds us that whatever we do has a consequence. So it's kind of that karmic rule of every action has a reaction, and everything we do kind of comes back to us in some way or another. And I think that this time of the year as well, it kind of naturally prompts that reflection. Whether it's the more fun Halloween type of energy, or maybe it's a much more kind of ancestral connected reflection that you're having. We always kind of come back to this time where we think about our actions, we're winding down. It's a much more quiet and inward looking time of the year. Even a time of the year where kind of death and these big cycles of life come up. We're thinking about our mortality and even perhaps what happens after we die. And so Justice just always reminds us to, of course, act justly ourselves, and also to carry that justice out in the world. Of course, there's a lot of events going on in the world today, really no matter where you are. And so when this card comes up, it can also ask us to be that figure that really does bring justice, whatever that looks like, out into our communities, to the world at large, even just into our interpersonal relationships. So whatever is coming up for you this time of the year, whatever you're thinking about, just do remember to act with justice and maybe to meditate on these themes a little bit. It's a good card, it's a very strong card, but it is a very intense card as well. And so if you haven't been acting justly, this card does come up to remind us to get back onto that path. Next, we have the Three of Cups. And this card is so wonderful. I really love it, and I love the art in this one specifically. Cups in the tarot correspond to our emotions, our relationships, and our intuition. And here we see three women cheering these three cups, and of course the crows are sitting prettily in the cups. And this card is all about community and just kind of having fun. Whenever this card comes up, I think about a girls' night or something like that, having a party, gathering up with your community. And so it's a very lighthearted, warm, emotional card. Justice has a lot of depth, a lot of intensity. This card is not quite that. But it does remind us of the importance of keeping up our friendships and enjoying the time with each other, because we don't want to be in isolation all the time. We don't want to be dwelling on things by ourselves all the time. We need other people in our life to support us, to encourage us, to remind us of what's important. And so this is, I think, such a great card for this time of the year, because there are a lot of parties, there's a lot of fun to be had, and it's a good reminder that that's not necessarily a shallow thing. Going to parties or meeting up with your friends, dressing up in Halloween costumes, it's fun, but it serves a broader purpose. So don't be afraid to go out and enjoy, even if you're someone who doesn't typically do those things. It can be really good for you in a very meaningful way to go out and have a night of fun. So I love this card. I'm very happy to see it as well. Finally, let's move on to the Nine of Wands. This is a very interesting card because here we have this figure who's up on top of this hill and he's kind of defending against these other birds here. And in the tarot, wands correspond to our energy, our creativity, even our sexuality. And so it's a very nice, vital kind of type of card. Of course, the 9 comes right before the 10. And so whenever we're at the 9, it's like we're almost there, but there's a little bit more to do. And so in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery of this card, we see a man who is building a sort of wall out of his wands. And of course, he's missing a slot. He has one more to go. And so this 9 of Wands is all about resilience. And it reminds us that yes, we might have a little bit more to go, but we're almost there and we can do it. We can accomplish what we want to get done. I think it's especially appropriate for this time of the year because we're kind of getting into, the 10th, nearly to the 11th month. And so on the calendar year, we're almost wrapped up. We're getting very, very close, but we're not quite there. So we're not to like the holiday season yet, but we're kind of tying up some loose ends and maybe we need to slot one more piece into place, but we have the resilience and we have the energy to get it done. And so I think that this card is a good reminder just to keep up the pace. It encourages us. It says, yes, we'll get there, and we just need to keep on working. So I really do like this card as well. This is really a good spread, and I like to see the balance between the wands, the cups, and a major arcana card. So on the whole, it looks like there's some good energy, and there's some energy that might be a little intense, but is very, very important. So I would say if you're feeling your energy flagging a little bit at this time of the year, maybe you're like me and you get a little bit of seasonal depression when it starts to get a little bit dark, but do lean on your friends and your community to lift you up. The 3 of Cups is a great reminder of that. Remember that you have a lot of resilience You have much more creativity and much more energy than you perhaps think. So keep on going. You have more left in the tank and you will get there. And maybe kind of thinking about these themes of justice and being persuaded to act in the name of justice can also be a really good use of our time at this point of the year. So that is our spread for today. I hope you enjoyed this Halloween reading, and I hope you enjoyed this deck as well. It is the Corrado Roy deck, or the Murder of Crows Tarot, I guess. And yeah, I think it's a really beautiful deck. So obviously this is not sponsored, I wish, but you can check it out if you like these cards. So thank you once again for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you like this reading, let me know. If you have any requests for a tarot reading, let me know. Otherwise, I will just look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.